Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk a little bit about Ficus Benjamina, give you an idea of different Ficus Benjamina trees I have in my collection, starting with this one here. Talking about why I, in my opinion, think they're a great fit for bonsai, how to take care of them, how their growth pattern is. So simply everything about this subgenus of Ficus. So as I said, Ficus Benjamina I do really prefer as a bonsai tree, because as you can see, the leaves in most of the varieties you can find in garden centers, they stay quite small. You can see here newer leaves still very small, and of course that is very fitting for bonsai. And they are quite fast growers, so if you take care of them in a good way, meaning you have them in a fitting environment and you fertilize them and water them correctly, then they will grow a lot. And the growth of course also means that they thicken the trunk quite fast. And that, of course, also really helps you with growing a bonsai tree. This, for example, I have grown now for a couple of years. So I would say, yeah, roughly 4 years, I would say. From really a small little plant into what now already looks like a nice starter bonsai, I would say. So definitely it can be identified as a bonsai. I, of course, work on it in other ways. For example, you can see some wire on it right now. Ficus in general and also Ficus Benjamina is quite malleable, the wood, so it's very easy to wire them. You can see, even here you can see a little bit of bite marks from when I left it on too long. And as the tree is growing quite fast and is, as I said, quite malleable, normally these ones can correct over time again. So I'm not too concerned about those bite marks. So let us stick a little bit more with this tree and talk about the care. I keep this in a sunny windowsill where it gets some direct sunlight as well. It definitely seems to benefit from that. Of course, in winter, make sure it's not drafty or anything there. It does react quite harshly to cold drafts, for example. It can drop some leaves then. It is quite visible when this tree is not doing too well, because it will start dropping leaves and shedding quite a lot of them in one go, actually. So that is always an indicator you need to change something. I keep it in inorganic soil, so this is a mixture of clay, pumice, perlite, lava rock, really airy, and that seems to really benefit the roots. Before I had it in organic soil, and that one just clumps together too fast. And yeah, it didn't really grow that well, and since I repotted it, it definitely has bounced back health-wise and is doing better now again. And other than that, yeah, water when the soil is dry. So for example, this one right now, it is already quite dry on top, so I would water this still today. And other than that, fertilize it every couple of weeks, a little bit more in summer. If it continues in winter, you can also fertilize then, and then your tree should be happy. Now let's move on to a different tree in my collection, also Ficus Benjamina, and talk a little bit more about this variety still. So here we have a root over rock project. So as you can see, this tree is basically growing on this rock. So this is a long-term project that now already is at a stage where you can see, or at least envision, the real design behind this, the intended design behind this. And I just wanted to show you this one as well, to show that Ficus Benjamina, how malleable it really is. You can really see how you can form the shape of a tree and really adjust it over time to, for example, as in this case, fit on a rock. And it is doing so well. It was quite easy to do this actually. So I started doing this under soil. So all of this was growing underneath the soil down to here. I had it potted up roughly the entire rock in here. And then you just, after a while, when the roots have settled in, you lift it out of the soil, you repot it, and you have a nice little root over rock project. And that definitely, if you want to try this for the first time, I would definitely recommend something like Ficus Benjamina. It is a very forgiving variety, a very forgiving species, and it's so easy to work on it. It is definitely my go-to when it comes to trying something new, experimenting with trees, because they are just so hardy and so forgiving. So even if you make mistakes in the beginning, and I definitely make some mistakes, of course, with this tree as well, I would say, they bounce back quite nicely. If you lose a branch somewhere, you can regrow another one. You can see here. Often you hear about Ficus Benjamina, they don't backbud that easily. But for example here, this is a completely back-budded branch that has happened after I shortened it here and I cut it here. So it definitely also backbuds. It might not backbud as good as some other ficus varieties, but it definitely can work. So even if you lose a lower branch, for example, there is chances to grow this again on a Ficus Benjamina as well. What else about the growth pattern? You can see Ficus in general, of course, as most of the trees, they grow upwards, of course, very strongly grow upwards. So wiring definitely does make sense to get some shape into that. So for example, this one here, once it gets a little bit more woody still, I will also wire out to have a little side branch here and have this as the leader still growing a little bit more upwards. But yeah, that's more the specifics on this tree in general. I leave this branch on here right now more as a sacrificial branch to improve the taper still a little bit, to get this part a little bit thicker still down here, just to make it look yeah, like an older tree. So yeah, just an experiment that works quite well for me at the moment and has been doing so for over 2 years now already, but definitely still a long way to go, but always a good project to work on. And yeah, Ficus Benjamina is just great to do that. Let's move on to 1/3 tree and continue with talking about Ficus Benjamina. So here is another tree, and I want to use this tree to talk a little bit about the growth pattern of Ficus Benjamina a bit more, and the ones you can find in box stores, because often the ones you find are not really the most established ones yet. They are quite thin, they're quite small still, and of course that means your bonsai journey will be a long one, because you have to, of course, have a tree that already resembles an older tree for it to really look like a fitting bonsai. And one thing you can do is fuse trees together, and that's what I'm trying to do here right now. I'm trying to create a clump style bonsai, so one where it looks like there's multiple trunks coming out right here from the base. And in order to achieve that, I'm trying to fuse 3 trees in here together. And actually the only thing I'm doing right now is wiring them together quite tightly, so they sooner or later run out of space while they continue to grow. And this way, normally they should start fusing together. And I have already tried a little bit. They seem to really hold well together, so I think there is some fusion going on already here. They seem to at least move together when I move the entire tree, and that hasn't been the case from the beginning when I repotted it into this pot and into this soil. So I think we're on a good way here when it comes to the fusion. I will keep it in this pot probably, another growth season, and only then start to repot, and I will also keep the wire on until then. I'm not too concerned about bite marks. That wouldn't be too much of a concern for me right now. The main goal is really to get the fusion going. And that is again just another project that shows how versatile Ficus Benjamina can really be, even though you find them often simply not that thick at the trunk or at the base of the trunk. You can, for example, in this case with fusion, still achieve like a nice look on a tree. And again, simply, experiment a little bit and try different things, as they are so forgiving, as they are fast growers. And you can see so much new growth, for example, on this one, even though it's in the middle of cold season right now. So definitely, if you have the chance, pick one up in a garden center, or actually you can right away pick multiple trees up in a garden center and then start simply trying to fuse them, for example, or trying to make a root over rock project or whatever else you want to try with your Ficus Benjamina. You can also cascade them. As I said, the trees can be so easily shaped, so you could also bend this whole thing down and create a cascade bonsai. So the only limit there really is your own imagination, and just get your hands dirty, try a little bit. Definitely, I can recommend Ficus Benjamina. If there's still some open questions, of course, leave them in the comments. I will answer them as soon as I see them. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. If you enjoy my channel, feel free to subscribe to it, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.